Okay, y'all. Tonight we have a special guest. We have another school owner from Petal, Mississippi. We got Miss Sylvina Buckley. Now, I know y'all tune in every Wednesday night. Some of y'all sit on the sidelines. You have not opened your school. You're scratching your head and wondering if you can do it. Well, when y'all hear her story tonight, there's not going to be any excuses. I'm not going to take up a lot of time. She even looks like a school owner. I mean, look at the school. Look at her. She looks like a school owner, an instructor, a teacher, very professional. So without further ado, Savannah, introduce yourself. And we're going to do like we always. We want to stair step from childhood all the way up to where we're at right now.
Okay, I'm Sylvina Buckley from Petal, Mississippi. When I was younger, I really didn't think about doing hair as a stylist or anything. Hair wasn't even in my mind at the time. So I grew up first 7 years of my life in Joliet, Illinois. My mom stayed in Chicago for 25 years. Then we moved to Mississippi. I have a lot of hairstylists in the family. My mom was a Pentecostal. And this is no knock on anybody that's Pentecostal, so don't take me wrong. So as I grew up under a strict household. My mom was really, really strict. My dad was really strict. We couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't wear makeup. We couldn't cut our hair. We had to wear skirts everywhere we went. And so as a child, it was kind of depressing because it seemed like we couldn't do anything. And so as I grew up, I began to wonder what I wanted to do for a career for my life. As I began to be a teenager, I was very active with basketball, running track, and different things of that nature. So as coming up in high school, people would just pick on us, call us holy rollies because we were Pentecostal. So I grew up with a very low self-esteem. And, with people calling me ugly all my life and just talking about me. So I had a very, very low self-esteem. So the career that I picked, I really didn't want to have to deal with the public because I had so much abuse from the public till I didn't want to have to deal with the public. So I was like a little artist all my life. I grew up learning how to draw. I could just look at somebody and sketch them out and draw them. Won a lot of art contests. My goal was to go to Memphis College of Art. I actually got accepted in the 10th grade, but because my mom's religion and she didn't, she felt like I was too young to be going to Memphis off by myself. So she kind of withheld me from that. So I actually went to a junior college and I have a drafting degree. I took up drafting. Hair wasn't even in my mind at the time. So I started doing drafting, and before I got my drafting degree, I failed at it the first time. I had one semester left, and because I had one class that was really, really hard and I really didn't have anybody to kind of help me get through it, I kind of gave up and said, you know what, I'll come back to this later. And so what made me go to beauty school, my oldest sister thinks she's a hairstylist, and she's really not, but she thinks she is. And so I had very long hair. My hair was probably to right here. I didn't have a chemical in it. And so she decided she wanted to put a relaxer in my hair. So she put the relaxer in and she left it in for a very long time. And I'm sitting here burning and scalp balls, on fire. And I'm like, can you rinse it, please? Can you rinse? No, sit there. It's got to get straight. And so I'm crying. I'm only 13. I'm crying. And at the time when she put the relaxer in, I was 13, I'm sorry. When she put the relaxer in my hair, this is what made me want to go to think about doing it. But I went into drafting. No, I wasn't. I was 16. I take that back. And so as she put the relaxer in, she burnt my scalp so bad. My whole scalp was a sore when she got finished with it. So when she rinsed my hair out, I said, it's got to be something better than this, So I said, it's got to be a better way to take care of my hair than my sister because, I'm not going to have any hair if I keep fooling with her. So still at the time, I was still went into drafting, wasn't thinking about hair until I failed that last semester in drafting school. I decided, you know what, let me go ahead and try this hair stuff. I just really went into it because I didn't want my sister doing my hair. And so I went to beauty school. I made straight A's. I excelled at it. I began to love it because I was learning about hair, and I was learning what I could do to my hair to take care of it so that I could take care of the rest of my family's hair. And so I got so good at it. When I graduated, the owner of the school, he kind of created a scholarship for me. He never done this before. So he kind of created a scholarship to bring me back as an instructor. I got my basics in 1990 and my instructor license in 2005. So to make a long story short, I've been in this field over 30 something years, and I've been teaching since 2005, and I love it. But when I got my basic license, I had a dream to want to open my own school. I've always had a dream to want to open my school, but I didn't know what kind of school at the time I would open. I just knew as a little girl, I would be the one that's the teacher all the time. So as I came up, all of my little cousins when we played, you know, I was the teacher and they were the students. So I just knew I was going to have some kind of school. So I got my instructor license, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the struggle I went through to get my instructor license, and then I'll move on. When I got ready to get my instructor license, everything was going fine. Of course, I got a scholarship to go, so I didn't have to pay for it unless I quit. So the school I went to, those last 2 months, the owner began to put a little pressure on me. And I couldn't understand why I was going through pressure when I was doing everything you asked me to do. I don't understand why you got teachers plotting against me. You're trying to catch me in something so that I can quit, so that I can pay you your money back. And so I just began to pray and kind of ask God, Lord, you're going to have to handle this. Well, I went into work one day, and he pulled me to the back. It was like 4 o'clock. And everybody know if you're an instructor, you're really not supposed to be working on clients. You're really supposed to be there for those students. But this owner had me working on clients also. And I told him, I said, look, I've been working since 8 to 4 o'clock. I haven't had a break. I just need a break, and I'll come back and I'll do whatever you need me to do. And so I clocked out and went on break. When I went to the snack machine, he followed me and he said, I kick you out. And so I'm drinking a soda and I almost got choked on it. I'm like, what? Kick me out for what? He said, I don't have to tell you why I'm the owner of the school. And I don't have to tell you why. Get your stuff and leave. And I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything. I never been wrote up. What did I do? And so it was a long battle there. I won't get into all the details. Long story short, he kicked me out for no reason. To this day, I still don't know why he kicked me out, but he told me I was going to have to pay him back. I said, well, you kicked me out, so I don't have to pay you back. You kicked me out. Remember, I had to quit. But that was a challenge for me, and I almost gave up when that happened. That I realized that was a test for me. And, you know, I went to try to get lawyers and all this and that. It was just a whole different ball game. And so I almost let that stop me. But then I said, you know what? I'm going to continue on because I want to open a school because I don't want to see anybody else go through what I go through. And I want to be able to treat my students the way God would have me to treat my students. And so if I get emotional, y'all just look over me because I cry a lot. And I cried a lot to get this building. So I'll tell y'all about that in a few. But anyway, I went on and I said, you know what? I'm going to keep going and I'm going to go get my license. Now, I lived in a little town called Laurel, Mississippi at the time. And I drove 45 minutes. Well, I worked. At this time I was married and I had my oldest daughter. I had a little girl. So I drove from Laurel, which is 45 minutes, to the school that I went to get my instructor license. At night, I had to take the night course because I worked during the day in the salon. And so I had a salon. So bear in mind, I could do 23 heads a day with no problem. And so with me having all those clients and then having to go to school, I said, okay, it won't always be this way. I can do this. It won't always be this way. I struggled through, got to the very end, and I got my license and everything. And I began to work at the school that I got my license at. And here come the devil again. And so stuff started happening even there. I don't want to go into the details there, but stuff started jumping off even at that particular school, even to the point when I went to go take my license for my instructor license, all of a sudden my lesson plans came up missing. I had typed out all of my lesson plans. We had to have lesson plans for every chapter in the book. Well, all of a sudden they came up missing, and nobody had access to them but instructors. So I called the state board. I'm crying. I'm like, I don't know where my lesson plans are. Somebody stole them. I got to come tomorrow for my test. What am I going to do? So the lady told me, she said, just try to handwrite as many as you can, and you just come on to take your test. And I'm crying and I'm writing and I'm crying and I'm writing. And I said, I'm not going, as I'm writing, I'm like, I'm not going to let this stop me. I don't know who did this, but I'm not going to let this stop me. And I just went on, did what I could. And the next day I took my test. Of course, I passed with flying colors on my test. And to make a long story short, to come up to today's time, well, let me tell you a little bit too about my family, so y'all can get to know me a little bit more. I am married. I have a husband I've been married to for 30 years now, and he was married prior to meeting me. And so I didn't know him at the time. We went to church together. I don't want a man that's been married already and have a ready-made family, because he had 2 little boys. And I told the Lord, I'm not marrying a man that's already been married before and have a family already. I'm just not going to do it. And so he just kept being nice to me, and I kept brushing him off. And then one day, I just started having these feelings for him. He was wearing me down, I guess. and he asked me out, and I went out with him. And then I went out with him again. And then I went out with him again. And 3 months later, he asked me to marry him. And then in about 3 more months, we were married. So we didn't stay engaged long. When you pray about it and you know that's who God has for you, then you don't have to be engaged to a person for 25 years before you marry them. And so I prayed about it, I fasted about it, and God began to show me some things. And he prayed about it and he fasted about it, and God showed him too. And so here we are today. We're still married with 2 children, and I have twin grandsons, and my daughter is now expecting one more because she just got married in March. So we're happily married. We don't fight and fuss. Now we have our arguments, but we never really fight or fuss about much. We always try to talk things out. He's a minister, and he's assistant pastor at the church that we attend now. So, just me being here tonight, I had to really, really say, hey, I need to put in an absentee. I need to do the Zoom tonight. So I normally don't miss church, but I felt like this was something I needed to do tonight. And I'm gonna brag about Chin a little bit tonight too. But I'm gonna get on enough about me just to give y'all a little insight of who I am and who I am as a person. I have worked at other schools. I worked at other colleges and stuff. And every college that I worked at, or every beauty school that I've worked at, I literally picked up little things here and there. They didn't know what I was picking up, but I was doing it because I knew eventually I wanted to open my own school. And so, I was that instructor that stayed late, or that instructor that took that shift, or that instructor that said, hey, I'll do it, because I wanted to learn the ropes of how to run a school. The last school I worked at is called Jones College. It's a community college. I love Jones College. I had a 100% pass rate while I was there with my students. I was there 4.5 years, and I kept my pass rate at 100%. So I got plenty of experience in the classroom, but at this particular college, I had to run the whole department. I had to do everything. So it gave me a lot of experience, extra experience with running a school. So now I'm gonna get to how I got to where I am today. And Chin, you can chime in if you need to ask me something, because I'll go on all night. But how I got to today? Well, in 2020, when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden I'm praying, and all of a sudden the Lord said, it's time to open your school. Now, I haven't really thought about opening school anytime soon. At that point, I had put it on the back burner, especially during the pandemic. And but the Lord said, it's time to open your school. But the Lord would never have you to do something that's convenient. He's always going to ask you to do something that's inconvenient. So that's how I knew it was the Lord. Because if it was a convenience for me, then I probably would have said, no, that's got to be the devil. So I'm sitting here and said, okay, Lord, you're telling me I need to open the school in the middle of a pandemic. And the Lord said, yes. Now, I didn't have any money in my bank account. I didn't have any money to open a school, nor to buy a building. So I'm like, okay, Lord, if you want me to open a school, then you're gonna have to manifest this money. You're gonna have to manifest this building. And I said, and I gotta figure out what all I need to do to make sure I'm doing everything right. I know state-wise what I need to do, but I knew it was deeper than just the state. So I began to search on YouTube. No, I Googled it first. I Googled how to open a beauty school, and stuff came up, but it was like ads from Buy Right, you know, because they have the little thing about schools, and it was like stuff that really didn't help me, because I'm like, this is not telling me how to open a school. So I searched and I searched, and I really didn't get much information. And then I went on YouTube. I said, well, let me search YouTube. And I searched and I searched. And I saw, what's her name? Takenya Green, is that her last name? Mm-hmm. Albany Beauty College. I saw Takenya doing a video with you, Chin. And I sit there and I listen to this video. I said, maybe this is what I need. And I listened to the video. And when I saw the video, and then when I saw some of the, I clicked through and saw some more Chin's video, I said, nah, this gotta be a scam. This can't be right. I said, this is a scam. I know it is. I'm not gonna, I better keep searching. And I searched and I searched, and I wound up calling Takenya. I Googled her school, and I wound up calling her because I wanted to know if she was real too, for one, and for two, I wanted to just say, I'm proud of you for what I saw in the video, and if you're doing this, then maybe I can do this too. How can I get in contact with Chin, you know? And so she didn't know me, and I don't know her, but I called her just to see, you know, do I need to keep researching this thing further? And she didn't have nothing to say but good stuff about you, Chin. So she didn't bash you or anything. She's a good person. But so I said, okay, I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna look some more. And I had my husband to look. I said, this gotta be a scam. Ain't no way in the world this man is doing all of this. So I don't know. And then I decided to take a chance. I said, you know what? I'm gonna call him. I said, he has a number here. I'm gonna call him. I said, he's a millionaire. You know, millionaire ain't got time for nobody. They're not gonna call you back. I said, so if he real, he'll call me back. I called him, and he answered the phone. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, you answered. He was like, yeah, how can I help you? You know, and I was just letting him know I wanted to inquire about some information about how to open a school. And he began to tell me a little bit of information and invited me to watch more of his Zooms. And he didn't pressure me into trying to take out any of his plans or anything like that. I mean, he put the information in my hand. He gave me a website I could go to so that I can check it out for myself. And he didn't say, do this, do that. And he was a real gentleman about it. And I was like, okay, I was just so dumbfounded that he answered his phone. I was like, I talked to a millionaire today. He answered his phone. And my husband's like, wow, he did? I said, yeah. I said, this guy's real. He really talked to me. And so we began to inquire about the bronze program that he has, because I said, this will be something that'll benefit me. And I'm knowing I ain't got a penny in my pocket to pay for this bronze program, but I'm just going to step out on faith and believe God. Now, when I say penny, I'm not broke, but you know, you got to have some extra funds somewhere for stuff. But I didn't have those extra funds. So I talked it over with Jim, we worked some stuff out, and I began to join the bronze. I joined the bronze program, and I was on every Zoom. Every time he had the Zooms, I was listening to everybody's testimony and everything, and I was like, okay. But you know how sometimes you listen to everybody's testimony, and you're like, I done had enough. I want my own testimony. Not that you have enough of them, but you're like, I want a testimony like that. You know, if they could do it, I can do it. And I'm beginning to listen, and it sound real easy what everybody was talking about. And so I began to dive into the bronze program, and I began to work on the paperwork and everything, and get my business plan together. And I said, you know what? This ain't gonna work. I need that gold program. So I called Chin. I asked him, how can I switch over to the gold program? And of course, he gave me the information on that. And I joined the gold because I needed a team. I couldn't do this by myself. And so he has a great team, and he's a great mentor. And so whenever, you need something done, his team is right there to help you do that. And so that helped me tremendously during this time to try to get my paperwork together. So when I was actually looking for a building, at the time I went on, I joined the Gold. I said, okay, it's time for me to go and search out this building. So I'm listening to the Zooms and I'm listening to Eugene talk about don't get nothing too big. Don't start out too big. You don't want to get something that you can't handle. And again, I'm stepping out on faith because I'm like, I don't know where to get the money to do this, but I'm just going to be like Abraham and I'm just going to step out on faith. And we just going to do that because I'm going to call those things that be not as though they were until they are. And that's what we're going to do. And this is how it's going to be. And so I went to Laurel, Mississippi because I said, I know a lot of people in Laurel. Maybe I'll open up there. I went to the mall, and bear in mind, this was in 2020. I went to the mall in Laurel, and there was a vacant spot in the mall. Bear in mind, there's a beauty school right behind the mall. But that was them and me. And so I was like, I want to open up in the mall because I believe it'll bring life back to the mall, for one, because it's kind of a dead mall. And I talked to the manager. The manager worked with me for almost a solid year. And I think I've called you sometime, Chin, and I was telling you about what was going on. And I worked with the guy for a solid year. I had laid the tape out on the floor. I went through about 4 contractors. Nobody would call me back. It was hard to get the contractors to call you. And we laid out everything on the floor. That's my husband back there coming in. So say hey, Dad. Hello. We laid tape out on the floor. And let me introduce y'all to my boo. This is gonna start down. This is Dennis. He's been a big help in this process right here. I tell y'all, he's a handyman. He can do anything. He's a great help. But anyway, we laid the tape out. We had everything sketched out on the floor. I called Chin. I said, hey, Chin, do you have anybody that could draw up this plan for me? So I kind of sent him a sketch. Chin guy got right on whoever, I'm not saying a guy, it might have been a female, whoever it was he used. They got right on it. They drew the plan out. And they sent it, Chin sent it to me. I think it was probably the next day he sent me the plan. And so we tweaked it a little bit. So when it was time for us to actually start the construction on the building, all of a sudden the ball manager comes to me and he says, we're not gonna be able to let you have this spot. We hadn't signed any papers yet, but he was giving me his word. He would hold on to it until I was ready to move, only because I was still working at this college and I was still under contract, and I couldn't just break my contract just then and start doing stuff. And I didn't want to take on too much at the time. So I said, okay, well, if somebody come in and want to get it before I get there, I understand. But it was just the fact I had went almost a whole year with him. And then he comes to me and he says, we're not going to be able to give you that spot. Let's let you look at another spot in the mall. Well, you know how when you look at another spot, you're like, that's not the spot. And then to boil down, he said, well, we don't want you to hurt the other hairstylists that's in the mall. You may hurt their business. So we just decided we don't want you to be in here. When in reality, he was best friends with the person that owned the school behind the mall. We found that out. And so we kind of felt like that was why we couldn't get that particular spot, because he's best friends with the school owner. And it was like blocking us from getting the spot. I said, okay. We were upset about it, but we were like, we're just gonna move on. We're gonna go and try to find us another spot in that town. So we went, and I had found the building downtown. And I don't know if you all watch HGTV, but they do a special on Laurel, Mississippi called Hometown with Ben and Aaron. Well, anyway, they kind of built the downtown area up. And so we went downtown, and I had saw a building down there. The lady told me, what do you want to use it for? Of course, I told her what I wanted to use it for. And here she goes saying, we already have a school downtown and we don't need another one, and hung up on me. And I was like, since when does a school owner tell a realtor that you can't have another school coming into town? And so at this point, any other time, I probably would have just wanted to give up, but that gave me some fight. So that was like the enemy the enemy was playing with me at this time. And I told him I didn't feel like playing. I don't feel like playing. I said, what you did to me in Psalms where it talks about when the devil steals from you, or if you're a thief and you caught, you have to give it up sevenfold. So when the devil stole from me, I said, you got to give it up sevenfold because you stole that building from me. Now you got to give it up sevenfold. So we began to look for another building, but at this time we came to where we live now here in Petal, and we kept driving through Petal. We drove past this building, which has been vacant since we've been living in Petal. And so I said, years ago I drove by and I said, that'll make somebody a nice building and, a nice business. And I never thought about it being my business. I just said to make somebody a nice business. We prayed. Now, of course, don't get me wrong, I'm skipping some stuff. But when all of that happened at this mall, of course, if you're a believer and you believe in God, sometimes, you have people that you pray with, and sometimes they pray with you and they give you scriptures and they say stuff, but you don't want, it's like, I don't need to hear no scriptures right now. I need my building. I know what to do. you just question. And I didn't want to get no word. I didn't want to get nothing. I'm crying. I'm y'all see all this gray right here? I got all that gray hair from this. Anyway, I'm crying. I'm praying. I'm like, Lord, I do what I'm supposed to do. I go to church. I read the word. I pray. I love people. I get along with everybody. Why is this happening to me? So I'm having a little pity party with myself. And the Lord said, do you believe me or not? Do you trust me or not? If you say you trust me, then why are you worried about if you're going to find a building or not? So I said, let me just shut my little mouth and pull out my vision, because the Lord told you if you have a vision, write it down, make it plain upon the table. Well, Chan, you pretty much have helped me write my vision. When you supplied the paperwork in your gold program, that's part of my vision. You are helping me with my vision. You wrote it down and you made it plain. And I didn't have to go through all of that to make it plain. It's just as plain as day on paper what I need to do to get this school off its feet. So I took what you have provided us, because you're such a great mentor, and I took your advice. I would call you, and anytime I call you, Chan, you would answer your phone. You don't know, try not to cry, how much that means to me and my husband when somebody pick up the phone and answer your call. You just don't know how much that means to me. And I know people probably say that to you all the time, but I've called other people that have made it in the industry for help and never received a phone call back. They got all these programs out there they want you to be a part of, but they don't call you back when you need their help, or when you're trying to be a part of what they're doing, but it's like you're just a number. They just want your money and you're just a number. But you don't do that. You don't do that, Chan. You're a person you're a man of your word, and you help people. You're so giving, and that's why you're such a blessing, and you're being so blessed because you're a giver. And so we took that, we wrote the vision. That catalog, that's a vision. That's a vision for everybody that opened their school. That catalog is wrote down and it's made plain. Those enrollment forms, it's wrote down, it's made plain. The mission statement is already wrote out, it's made plain. The business plan is already wrote out. So you were helping me with my vision. So I began to regather myself. And so I said, okay, I'm going to go. I'm going to, of course, my husband, we have a little retirement, and he invested his retirement funds all into my school. All of it. And I had a little retirement money from the school that I worked at, but in order to get that, you can't work there, right? So I kind of it isn't time for me to retire, but when I left the school, I retired so that I can have those funds also. But I applied for a small business loan, a 504 and a small business 7A, which they have funds in those small business funds right now. I took the business plan that you have in the Gold program, and I just put my name in there, my school name stuff. All I had to do was just pretty much put my school name in the place or whatever was there. And my projections, my financial projections, I got with the SBA, the Small Business Counselor, free. They did my projections for free. They helped me the whole time pull the rest of my business plan, the rest of that stuff that needs to be in the business plan together, like the financials, and projected my 3-year financials for free. I didn't have to pay anybody to do that. They give you that service for free when you get with a small business counselor, and they walk through it, and they also make you do some homework. I can't think of the name she called it, but anyway, it's kind of like an assessment. Like, what if a tornado happened? What are you gonna do? And they tear your building down. What do you have in place? What if there's a fire? And they make you answer those questions, and so that the bank can see that you have a plan. If this happens, this is what I'm going to do. If this happens, this is what I'm going to do. And we attach that to the business plan. And when I tell you, when we turned in that business plan, there was no questions about nothing in the business plan. Pretty much was a very smooth transaction there. We just pretty much had to work, when they asked for certain stuff, to give it to us. So we got the loan with no problem. It was an easy process. It just took a little bit of time, with the pandemic and all of the waiting on the paperwork to get back and different stuff like that. So moving forward, looking for another building. This building that I'm inside of now used to be a medical building. It used to be a doctor's office. And it's about 3,500 square feet. And there was a sign in the door. We drove by. Every day before I bought this building, I drove by and I spoke to this land and I spoke to the building. I got out of my car and I walked the ground. And I said, every place my feet tread upon is mine, And I, not just me, my husband did. He prayed with me also. But we saw the sign and they were asking $189,000 for this building. But bear in mind, I know Chin said, don't get too far in it, don't get too far over your head when you start out. But every building that I had looked at that was for lease, I was going to be paying out like $4,000 to $10,000 a month. That's how much they were asking us everywhere I went. It was either going to be $4,000 and something dollars just for the month for leasing it, or $10,000. One guy told me $10,000 a month. And I said, you got to be kidding me. And he said, yeah, so I'm beginning to think again here, getting in my head, but I didn't say it this time. I'm thinking, the devil can bring you a thought all day, but it doesn't have to become yours. It's not yours until you say it, okay? So I sit there and I was like, in my head, I'm saying, I'm not going to ever get me a building open at these prices. I can't afford $4,000 a month. And then I can hear the Lord saying, do you trust me or not? If you say you trust me, why are you worried about how much a building is going to cost? And so I said, okay, let me just go ahead. Got with my husband. First, I had to get my husband a board. You want to come over here so I can see your face when I say this? First, I had to get my husband. He's going to join me if y'all don't. I had to get him his faith built up to where mine was, because his faith was like, he's a numbers man. So he's looking at the numbers, right? Most men look at the numbers, and the women, we're like, we don't care, we want this, So he's looking at the numbers, he's looking at the household, he's looking at the fact, I'm not going to have a job after December because I was quitting my job to go full force with the school and everything. And so he's looking at the numbers, and I'm talking, see that look on his face? That's the way he was looking when I was talking to him about, I want to open it. The Lord told me to open the school, and so he was like, another one of your ventures, because I've been on a lot of ventures, and he would be right there with me. I've had several salons, and he'll give me this look every time, even to the point when we got ready to buy our house. What did the Lord tell you when we got ready to buy our house?
Don't you worry about the price.
The Lord told him, don't you worry about the price. See, the Lord already knew he was going to be worried about the price. So anyway, my husband said, why don't you make a bid on the building if that's the building you want, offer on the building. Well, he didn't tell me how much, I don't think at first. Did you? Well, he told me a real low amount, I think. Yeah, and I was scared to do that. So I said, I'll just go about 10,000 more than what he said. He told me to tell him 140,000. They wanted $189,000 for this building. I was like, man, they're gonna laugh at me if I say that. So I kind of said, okay, I'll say 150. So I called my realtor and I said, hey, we want to make one thing we learned. Okay, I have to say this, and I have to give this credit to Rick Williams. Rick, the wealth coach. One thing Rick taught us in one of his classes is how to negotiate. So we called the realtor and we said, hey, we want to make a bid on the building. We want to put down, we want to purchase the building for $150,000. My realtor almost laughed at me and he said, are you serious? I said, yeah, I'm serious. I'm not laughing. And he said, well, they just, the building was $230,000 and they just lowered it to $189,000. I don't think they're gonna give you that building for that, but I'll go ahead and put it in. He really didn't want to put it in. He started to backpedal. I said, man, you're the realtor. You are a realtor. You gotta do what we asked you to do. Tell them we want to put down $150,000. We want to do $150,000 on the building. I said it. Ain't think nothing else about it. I didn't get into doubt. I said, we're gonna get that building for $150,000. So we prayed about it. By then he was in faith. Okay. He had got a little bit faith. He was built up a little bit. He said, I feel like the Lord really wants you to do this. Everything just seemed to be rolling. And the reason I was trying to go ahead and get that building because the bank was asking us, have we found the building yet? Because they were just waiting on that. So he called us back. I can't remember if it was a week later or a couple of days later. And he said, Sylvina, they counted. And I said, for what? They said $160,000. I said, we'll take it. So they only went up $10,000 more than what we were asking for. We're going into this. We came into this building with how much equity?
Well, once we did the appraisal came back. I was thinking it was going to be 280. The appraisal came back 270. So we came into this thing with $110,000 equity.
By purchasing this building. Our notes for the first 6 months was $800 and some dollars a month for the first 6 months on this building.
So it was just interest.
It was just interest. But we were having some of those notes paid and we didn't know how they were getting paid. I was like, did you make a payment on the account? Because I don't know. It's saying we don't owe anything. Come to find out, the small business was making some payments for us for those first 6 months. They made a couple of payments for us, so we didn't have to make a couple of those payments. So I couldn't do anything but laugh when we saw that the SBA was paying our bill for us. We looked at each other and we just went like we're doing now, laughing. We just started laughing because we were laughing really at the devil because you thought you had us, but you didn't, because look at what God did for us. And so that was just amazing. So we got this building for $160,000. Okay, so now we got the building. So now I'm excited and I'm texting Chin and I'm telling him we found the building. And I tell Chin, I said, can your guy draw up a floor plan, another floor plan? Boom, got the floor plan just like that. Of course, it'll be a little bit Chin and I'll be closing. I think I told you that how many times, probably 6 or 7 times that we'll be closing. And the reason I didn't know 6 and 7 times, because every time we would get to closing, something would jump off. And so the first time, it was the banker. He just kept the paperwork. There was one piece of paper that was preventing us from closing, and it was a power of attorney.
No, it was affidavit, because this property was actually foreclosed, and this company in Ohio purchased it out of foreclosure. Once they purchased it, they wound up having to pay all of these taxes year after year because they were just purchasing it to flip it. But anyway, so turns out that this paperwork called an affidavit somehow got lost, and the bank could not finance it because they would not do it without a title insurance. Somehow, the bank was the lender, but somebody in the picture would not allow them to do it without title insurance. So, and that affidavit was very important as far as getting title insurance.
So the banker tells me, the bank president tells me, he said, you're going to have to either find another building because we're not going to give you the loan on this building because of that piece of paper, they couldn't find it. And so I'm like, I done had Chin to draw me up a plan. I'm like, we spent money here and there on this and that, and got a contractor to come in. We were paying for his gas to come down to give us an estimate on the building, and of course, every time they came, we were paying for his gas and different stuff like that. And so I had enough again, and I told the devil I'm tired of playing with you now.
Yeah, at this point, they had us actually searching for a new building.
Yeah, my realtor found. Yeah, they gave up on us. Everybody had given up. And the realtor was like, well, I found another one downtown on this like 5,000 square feet for about the same amount of money you're about to spend, but it's just going to probably take you a little more work. And I said, I don't want that building. That's not the building the Lord told me I was going to have. I said, this is the building the Lord had for me, and I don't want another building. Because when we walked in this building, it felt like home, didn't it? It felt like this is where we're supposed to be. We knew in our spirit that this is the building God had for us. And so we were like, no, we don't. I said, you can go look. I said, but I'm not trying to look for another building. So I got in my little prayer closet again. I think I was at work when you called me and told me. He told me something, and I was at work. I went in my office, and the office that I had at this time, it's all glass. You can see in there, it's all glass. So my students thought I was going crazy in my office, but I'm in the office trying not to let them hear what I'm saying, and I'm just going off on the devil. So they thinking I'm on the phone with somebody, maybe I got an earpiece in, and I'm in there and I'm like, now angels, I need you. I'm calling on you right now, and I need you to go find that piece of paper, get it to whoever you need to get it to, and so that I can go ahead and close on this building. In Jesus' name, go right now, find that paper and get it to who we need to get it to, so I can close. I said, because I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting this. I don't have the strength to fight anymore. So I need you to go. You're there to minister for me. Go get that paper. That was that morning, around 8 something. Tell them what happened.
Well, the realtor called me. He said, you're not going to believe this. He said, the guy I've been dealing with at the company in Ohio was looking for the piece of paper and couldn't find it. He's no longer on the project. A new guy came in, and he said, I told him what the issue was, and the guy said, I'll find it. Went out, he said, the guy is faxing me the affidavit today.
About 4:30, he called me, he said, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? He said, they found the paper. I fell out laughing and rolling in my office. I'm walking around with my hands uplifted, and I'm praising God, and I really broke out into a laugh, and I couldn't stop laughing. Because I'm laughing at the devil, because I'm like, you tried to stop me again, but you see that didn't work. And I gave all praise. I said, you haven't learned by now. Every time you do, this is what I told the devil. I said, every time you do something to me, I'm going to lift my hands and praise God even more. So you're going to get tired of me praising God. So every time you mess with me, I'm going to praise God through it all. I'm going to praise God and let him fight this battle. So he can tell you, I would just be laughing, because when the devil messed with me, I just shoot out of praise. So he got to where he left me alone a little bit, because he didn't want me praising God, because I was going to give God the glory either way. I said, because you're not going to get any glory out of this. Let me tell y'all how the devil, I ain't trying to preach, but let me tell y'all how the devil get glory. The devil get glory when you start saying, that devil did this, and that devil that. Oh, he's receiving that praise, because now you're lifting You lifting up the devil. That devil did this to me, and oh, the devil bothered me, the devil made me, and the devil this and the devil, and he's just enjoying that praise. But every time he did something to me, I was like, oh God, I praise you. I thank you through this situation. I thank you that I have my building. I thank you that the school of students is going to be the number one school in Mississippi in the state. I'm sorry if anybody on here that's from Mississippi. I've already declared my school to be the best. But I pray that yours is right along in there with me. Yeah, so we finally, they got the paper, and still I called Chin. I said, okay, they done gave me a closing date. And once we talked to Chin about the closing date, and then I said, I'll be calling you pretty soon because I'll be moving in. I'm all happy. Now at this time, we are buying stuff for the building with the retirement funds until the small business loan come through. And we're buying stuff, and in a few, I probably walk through the building just to show y'all everything in the building, because everything inside this building you see was in our house. It was in our, and I don't have a real big house, and everything was in our house. And so it was in the living room, it was in the bedroom, it was in the hallways, in the dining room, everywhere we could put boxes or put stuff, because we didn't want to pay a storage, we put it in our house. We don't have a garage, we have like a 4-car carport. So we put everything inside of the house. That stuff stayed in our house for 6 months. That's how long that battle was, 6 months. And we started in 2020. I just opened the school. We just opened July 12th. The school, we actually started class July 12th, but we started in 2020. So, but I said all that to say that once they found the paper, we got the ball rolling again. So in January 21, we started construction on the building. 22, we started construction on the building. So from 2020, we started in May, I believe, when I first started talking to you, Chin. It was around May or something. And I said, boy, he gonna get tired of me. It's been this long. He gonna be like, your mentorship is worn out because you hadn't did anything yet. No, just kidding. But I was like, well, I'll keep calling him when I need him, because he's gonna have to get me through this process. But he's such a great mentor. I'll call him anytime I needed something. Hey, I need this catalog. Can your team print out, help me with my catalog? So yeah, boom. That's what happens when you're in the GOLD program. It get done for you, because you're not gonna have time, trust me. You're not gonna have time to sit down and try to work all that paperwork out for yourself. And that's why you need a mentor and you need a team. You need a team to do that. And I didn't share, one thing I didn't do, I didn't share my vision with a whole lot of people. A lot of people didn't know we were doing this. My own pastor didn't know that we were opening a school. Because when you share your vision, y'all know the story about Joseph, right? Start sharing that dream with everybody, and then they try to kill him. And so, when you share your vision, you create enemies. And then you fight battles that you don't have to fight. You fight battles that you normally wouldn't have to fight just because you shared your vision. So we just keep it on, like, yeah, somebody said, keep it quiet. Yep, keep it quiet. My mama didn't even know for a long time. My mama liked to talk. So she didn't even know for a long time that I was opening a school. I probably told my baby sister, because we're real close, and she's been my number one fan through this whole thing. I didn't share my vision with a whole lot of people. And that way I didn't have to fight those. I was already fighting battles, so I ain't need to fight any extra battles, because I promise you, you will. It's just been a blessing. It's been a blessing. hopefully this won't be the end. Chin, you'll be my mentor for life. I just put it out there like that. So you'll always be my mentor. You'll always be somebody I know I can pick up the phone and call when I run into an issue. And you are, I don't have them laying out, but you see this table right here? It had all that orientation paper laid all the way out in packages when they came in to do their orientation. And I made sure everything was signed and dated. I made sure they initialed it. It would take me, 2 hours? Probably 2 hours to go through my orientation. That's how thorough I was being to go through. I could record it and just let them listen to it, but I want to be personal with those students and get to know them. When people walk in this building, this is what we're getting. It feels, I can sense the presence of God in this building. Or they'll say, it feels like home, you know, and that's the feeling we got when we came in the building. It feels like home. And so, and that's the atmosphere we want to create. But I couldn't have got this far, first of all, without my Lord and Savior. Second of all, without your help, Gene. And I'm going to come to Nashville one day. I've been telling my husband that I want to move to Nashville forever, you know, but the Lord had told us to move to Nashville, but that is my vacation place, even before I knew you. And but one day we will hit Nashville up so that I can meet you in person. Pretty much, that's my story.
Okay. Well, when y'all come, make sure y'all stay at my house. So just come. I got y'all on everything else. Now, I know they probably have some questions for you, but for Dennis, how did it feel? What were you thinking, Dennis, when she kept talking about this school and stuff?
Well, I really couldn't see how it could happen, to be honest. And I didn't, early on, I'm talking about. And I didn't think she was ready for something like that, for something like this. But as the years progressed, I could kind of see where every time she would go from one, working at one school to the next, I could kind of see growth in there, you know. And so, but by the time she decided that the Lord was telling her during a pandemic that now's the time to open your school, she had settled in at the community college where she was teaching cosmetology. In fact, she had said this out of her mouth to me. She said, you know what? I love it here. In fact, I'm going to retire from here. And now here we are, 3 years later, or whatever. She goes, I love where I'm at, but the Lord is telling me now's the time to open my own school. When she said it, I knew it was time. But I wasn't ready. I was ready to chill for a while instead of continuously grinding, But I knew it was the Lord, so I had to get on board, and I knew I had to get my faith to where hers was for the school. And so we did. Got on board, and we're seeing the results.
Now, when she was telling you about me, what were you thinking? Because I've had men actually come to my house when their wife had told them about this school program. Actually, it was a dude from Mississippi. He just got accredited, CNK Barber College. But several people have come, because men were protective, and what were you thinking?
Yeah, definitely. But I've learned over the years that she's a much better judge of character than I am.
I can be around a person. They can walk through the door and immediately I already know what kind of person it is. I've done that all my life. When my students come to class, when I first meet my students, they'll get to talking and I'm just listening. And I'll come home, I'll tell him, now this one right here, she's gonna be blah, 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 blah. This one right here, she'll be the drama queen in the class. This one right here. Am I right? Most of the time, I hit it spot on. I don't have to be around a person a long time to know their character. I don't call it a gift. I don't know what it is, but I just pick up on stuff like that really, really easy. I can tell when a person really don't care for me. I can tell when a person done had enough, you know. And I told him about you. I said, this man is real. No, he's genuine. His heart is right, you know.
Those were exact words.
Yeah.
So I've learned to flow with him in that respect.
Now, Sylvina, when you would watch other people open schools, like people sitting on the sidelines, what were you thinking? Because a lot of people come on here each week, they don't have a school, or they're working behind a chair, they got this dream, then they send other people. So what do y'all be thinking?
What I was thinking when I was coming on, you know, I'm listening to everybody's testimony, because that was encouraging to me. It encouraged me to keep going and to keep on doing what I was doing, but eventually I would get there. But when I came on, I wanted to be honest with everybody, because sometimes you hear the good part of the story, but you don't hear the struggle behind how they got there. And I wanted people to know it was not easy getting here. For me, it wasn't. It wasn't ice cream and cake at all for me getting here. It was a challenge. And I think I told him, I said, what have Chin got me into? This is not easy. I said, this is not easy. Not that you got me into anything, but the fact that what I was saying is I didn't realize the work, the extra work that was gonna have to go in with this. But had I not gotten with you, I probably would have given up. Because without that gold program, I promised you, I wouldn't be right here today. I wouldn't have the school. But because I had a team helping me when I need stuff, or when I need to call and ask the question, well, what do I do here? Well, what about this? You know, how do I do this? Or, you know, how can I get more students or whatever? Do you have any numbers that can help me with financing for my school? What about vendors? You know, if I didn't have all of that, I still today, I just keep going back through the stuff in the gold program. And, you know, when people ask me, well, what does it cost? Because I got a young lady now that asks me, well, what does it cost? I said, well, you have to call and talk for yourself, because I don't know your financial situation. I don't know what his heart gonna feel like that, but he may tell you, just join. Don't worry about the cost. Or he may tell you it costs this or it costs that. I said one thing about it. I looked at the cost and we both went, we did, but we were like, but it's an investment. It's an investment. And when you invest in yourself and you know that you're gonna prosper from that investment, eventually you won't even care about what you having to pay. And then what happened to me is seeing all these other people that invested in the gold program, and now they're accredited and they are having good success in their schools. They have good success with their families. I've never been on a cruise. I've never been to the Bahamas. You know, I've never done stuff like that, and maybe eventually that's not why I'm getting into the school to do all of that. But hey, that's part of the benefits. Why not? You know, so I've never really been out of the country or did anything like that. But in the future, you know, I know that's coming. I don't have a story saying I want to, you know, buy this big mansion. I'm content where I am, really. But if the Lord wants to put me in another house, then I'll go to another house. But, you know, I'm happy. I'm very happy. You gonna be happy? Happy, you know, with my family. I'm down to earth. You ever meet us? We just down to earth people. We're not, you know, people think we're rich. You know, we go out of town or we go somewhere, they literally think we got a whole bunch of money. And we really don't. I guess it's just how we carry ourselves, but we really don't. We're givers, we bless. And one thing I did too, now let the Lord lead you. I'm not gonna tell you, but this is what God had me to do. I have a trainer, a fitness trainer. The Lord told me to sow into his business, sow into somebody else's business, and somebody will sow into yours. So I asked the Lord again, the Lord not going to ask you to do anything convenient. It's always going to feel uncomfortable when he asked you. And that was my last $200 I had in my hand. You know, I had some extra money on the side, and that was my last $200. I didn't even meditate on it. I was like, okay, I'm going to put this in the envelope. When I go work out, I'm going to take him. I'm going to bless him. I gave it to him. I said, hey, the Lord told me to give you this. I didn't know. My husband told me later that the trainer actually told him when that happened, you know, me and my husband was giving it. You know, that was me and my husband giving him that. He told him, I can't remember how he said the guy told him, but
it wasn't the amount, but it did something to his mindset. He was at a point where, you know, he was believing God for something, and that right there, he said that seed was the catalyst that catapulted me. He told me this later. He said it catapulted me to the next level. Just a simple seed, just $200. He said it wasn't the amount. He said it was the time.
Yeah. So you just never know. And what I did was I just obeyed God. Whenever God told me to do something, I just obeyed him. And when he told me to sow that seed, I did. And we've seen that harvest come back through several situations. I mean, financially, stuff was happening. And we would just look at each other and start laughing. I mean, we couldn't do nothing but laugh because we knew it was God taking care of us. And so, you know, just obey God. If he told you to open a school and you sitting on this Zoom call and God has told you to open up your school, you need to go ahead and obey God, because the more you don't obey God, you open the door for the enemy to come in and wreak havoc in your life, because all disobedience is sin. And so you need to just go ahead and do what God told you to do.
Dennis and Sylvina, can y'all tell us about this picture as we navigate through some of your pictures?
So let me see, where is that? That looks like one of the shampoo rooms. I mean, one of the rooms. Hold on.
We're sitting in there.
Yeah, so what you see, no, that's going out to the clinic floor.
Gotcha.
So that's where the clinic floor is. It was like 2 rooms and a closet right there. So we tore that out to make the clinic floor bigger so that we could put 20 stations out there, because in Mississippi you have to have 20 stations. And when we'll give you guys a tour in a few. Yeah, that's the clinic floor area right there. That's the clinic floor that we tore out. That part right there, it used to be the lobby and the reception, where that little wall is, that little brown that you see on the wall. The reception office went all the way out to that wall, and all of that carpet you see was lobby space. So we added a wall for a half wall there to kind of separate some of the lobby out and made the rest of it clinic floor. So we tore up all the carpet. Yeah. So that little blue wall you see right there, it used to go all the way across there. That was all reception area in there. So now there's a wall that extends out past that window a little bit, and the rest of that is clinic floor. And when we go out there, you'll see it. That's the front entrance there. And I don't think I have all of my pictures posted on there, but when I walk through, I'll kind of explain what's going on. I put that sign up, coming soon, back in January. And the people in the neighborhood, we have what they call Petal Community on Facebook. You know, it's when people in the community, they go to that page to see what's happening. And I will see comments under that page like, she says she opening, but she's not open yet. You know, just negative comments, people just throwing out stuff there. And I didn't let that deter me. I just kept with it.
Hello, everyone. I just wanted to come on for just a brief moment to let everybody know that Hair Station Studio College of Beauty We are still coming to Petal, Mississippi real soon. We're just awaiting our inspections and the completion of the building. I just wanted to let everybody know to be patient with us during this time. We are so excited to open up in Petal, Mississippi. We are so excited for those that are pre-registering for the classes. If you would like to pre-register, you can go on our website to www.hairstationstudio.com, and you there can pre-register for the classes. Now, that is not the application for the class. That's just to let us know who's interested in becoming a student at Hair Station Studio College of Beauty.
Now that was in March.
Yeah. And the reason I said we are still opening is because I was getting those comments under there. You know, I went to my bedroom, I threw my wig on, put on a little makeup, and made a video. I posted a whole lot. And that's my husband out there painting the sign because it was kind of rusty on the bottom. That's his hard. He works so hard.
What about this?
That's when we were moving in, right before the ribbon cutting. We start moving equipment and stuff in to get it ready for the ribbon cut. That's my son-in-law and his friends and my other daughter boyfriend. And I recently had that Instagram page, so I probably don't have a lot of followers. Really don't care if I get a whole lot of followers, you know, because I'm just trying to build my school right now, but it'll come. Okay, so those young ladies that you see right there, all of them was past students of mine. I made them part of my committee. You know, we have to have a committee. So I made those students part of my committee there because I knew they knew how to bring in that young crowd of stylists there, students, and they have been a big help with bringing students into this school. That's the clinic floor. That's my realtor. My mom in the purple right there.
Let me go back.
I think that's my mom and my baby sister back there. Yeah, that's my mom for sure. I know that's staying anywhere. She just happened to wear purple. She didn't even know that was my logo colors. The mayor and some of the aldermen and the Federal Chamber of Commerce. That's my baby sister in the purple. That's my mom in the purple and a friend of mine. She was out there dancing. I didn't know she was dancing.
Tell us about the ribbon cutting. Tell us about this ribbon cutting.
Yeah, there was Petal Chamber of Commerce that did the ribbon cutting. Some of the people that you see with the city that came because they know this building and they knew it used to be a clinic. First of all, the doctor that had this building, he snuck over here before everybody got here and to look at the building. And when he walked in, he was like, oh my goodness. He said, this is a totally different building. He said, it looks so good in here. He couldn't imagine it. They couldn't imagine it looking like that. He started following me on Facebook and stuff. And I didn't even know he was following me, but he was really secretly trying to keep up with the page so he can see what was going on inside the building. That's what he told me. So he saw the building and he was just amazed at how it looks inside now, because they remember how it looked prior to it. This is the classroom that we're in. This was 4 rooms, medical rooms with sinks in them. So we wound up tearing all of that out. And you see this wall here, actually is a beam. We had to leave that to support the load of the building so that, the building won't fall in. So this was all little 4 exam rooms, my lockers over here. That table you see that the lockers are on, actually my pastor wife built that table. She was gonna throw it away. Mm-hmm. I said, hey, I can put that in my school. I had by right to make me these wig dryers here. Mm-hmm. So those are wig dryers. And my students are already wrapping perms. That's what you see. And they did a money piece today. So another wig dryer here. My little library. It didn't have to be real large, but my little library there. This mannequin right here, I know I ain't supposed to be showing y'all this, but I just like to brag on students. This mannequin, we did a challenge. The mannequin was bald-headed, so we told them they had to create a style. The student had to create a style using anything to make it look like hair or to make it a style. And so you can see she glued hair and she made it a honeybee thing. And so she took a bald-headed mannequin and made something out of it. And she had lashes and stuff on. And that's a little sign that go with it. So we do little creative things like that. That whiteboard right there, somebody donated to the school. As I walk out right here, this is like a little break area, but I let the students break in the classroom because this is so small. We just kind of break here. Excuse this reception off. My daughter hadn't cleaned it yet, but this is the reception area. And this is the facial room right here. This was, we had to add that sink in there because the state of Mississippi require you to have a sink in your facial room. Of course, this closet here is 4 bathrooms in. This is a closet and this is the storage room. One of the bathrooms right here. This is the lobby, and these chairs that you see, a student actually donated. And a lady that goes to church made this sign for me. I just took a picture. I bought a picture out of Walmart. I tore the back part of it out and left the frame and the thing and just had her to put my logo on it. So this is another bathroom over in the corner there. One of the things the inspector kept getting on to us about was he tried to make me put a water fountain in here. And I told him I didn't have to have one, as long as I supply free water to my clients. And so we wound up winning that battle and getting just a little water cooler. This is the clinic floor. And I'm just gonna slowly try to scan the clinic floor for you guys. You've seen how it looked the first time. And there are 20 stations in here. The TV that you see above this station actually, can you bring me that remote, baby? We have cameras throughout the building. We have a lot of cameras. And because students will steal. But this is not in here for them to watch television, but there may be something I need them to watch, so I have it here. But also we just have it here so we can kind of, no matter where I am, I can see what rooms the students are in and make sure that we can see what they're doing in there, because some of the rooms are kind of in the back and I don't know what they're doing. So we have some cameras set up here. Walking off the clinic floor now. Now you'll be proud, Chin, of my husband. This was a full door, and the contractor was supposed to cut it in half, but that didn't happen. But my husband cut the door in half and made me like a little half door there, and he built this little ledge on there. So he's always doing something with his hands. That's why I love him so much. I think I keep him. And this is the dispensary where they mix up their products, and a little fridge for them to keep their food in. And you can go out this door and it leads back to the classroom in here. So we're not gonna go in there, we already been, but that leads back to the classroom. Now, here's the one shampoo room. Yours truly, Dennis Buckley, built that little back stand there to the shampoo bowl. These little cabinets here I got off for a lot of my equipment I did get, I must admit, from Amazon. It was a little bit cheaper there than going through the actual vendor on some of the vendors. And here's another shampoo room. I don't have much decorations up yet. We're working on that. And here's another shampoo room. We wound up having to put the washer in this room because that's a story. Let me show y'all. Somehow, somebody didn't think to check the opening here. It's too small to push the washing machine through, so we had to put it in another room. And that's a storage back here. In that room back there, it's just a storage in there. And I got about 12 dryers in this room because we have to have 12 according to our state. So it looks crowded, but they can still sit over there in that corner. So it's 2 bathrooms back here also. That's one. And here's the other one. And this door leads to the classroom again. Now, y'all, don't judge me. We got boxes to put up. And my office is a mess because we've been doing a lot of unpacking. I'm making this a manicure room and a pedicure room. No, I won't have the foot spa, but we'll just do the basins. But I'll add more tables. But this is and I'm gonna give y'all a glance. My office is a mess right here. And once we get it decorated, this is my office. We again have a monitor in here so that we can see what's going on the clinic floor when I'm working in my office. I can kind of see what's going on in the building. And I believe that's it. And that's the plan we sent to, that Chen pretty much sent back to us with the layout of the equipment. We just made the evacuation plan out of some of them so the students will know how to get out no matter what room they're in.
Looks very good.
And I will show you the outside, but it's kind of dark outside. We have a porch that goes, a sidewalk that goes all the way around the building on the side. So if I wanted to, I can put some furniture out there for the students to sit on the outside. So how do I flip this back around?
Looks very nice. It's a very nice school.
I'm trying to find where I flip it, Chin. Okay, there it is. All right. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Very nice.